Started that. Beautiful. Right, buddy. So, let's get my headphones on. Okay, I think you should be able to hear me now.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Good.
Okay, good.
Can hear myself as well.
Yeah, it's a bit weird at first on this, but you'll get used to it.
Sound.
It's just the same. It's a bit iffy. There we go. Right, buddy, do you want to tell us a little bit about just how you got started? Like, how did you get started in PT and kind of what's your journey been like?
So I've had a little bit of it's a quite a long-winded story. So I've always played sport. I'm 40, so I've had a long time playing sport: rugby league, football, karate, boxing, all these kind of things. Played rugby league at a pretty decent level. But I joined the police in 2003, which that's my other job. You might not even know that.
No, I did actually.
No, you did.
No, I didn't.
I'm a cop. So I don't do this full time. Joined the police in 2003. Was still pretty active playing sport then. But then, so coaching for me came in the first instance from tutoring police officers.
Okay.
To be police officers in about so I'd got about 2 years in the job, and then I started tutoring new cops, and that went on. And then in 2013, I joined police training. So I was a trainer for police officers, like in the classroom. Got qualified as a teacher to teach adults in something that I was qualified in. So that's my pathway into coaching. At the time, was doing a little bit of boxing coaching, weirdly, in a gym in Horwich with a friend of mine. Again, just went there as a member. But just gravitated towards coaching. It's kind of what I've done. I've kind of done something and then always thought to myself, I want to understand this and then I want to show people how to do it. And that's how it's kind of gone. So I did that in the cops, did that with boxing, started doing CrossFit in about 2014. And sort of, again, wanted to understand what CrossFit was and the fundamental parts of it, the gymnastics, the weightlifting, the craziness of it. And then again, gravitated towards wanting to coach it. And then in 2000, just before lockdown, I came here. I'd been injured. I'd done some, I don't know, that was it, patellar tendonitis, and I'd struggled. And I was literally treadmill and bike for about a year. Came here, and it happened again. It happened again. It was kind of like, right, Longy, you fancy taking a class? And I'm like, absolutely. And I thought, and around that time, I kind of thought to myself, right, this has happened too many times now. I need to get qualified.
Yeah.
I need to get qualified. I need to go and give myself some sort of credentials whereby I can go, and let's have it right, make money, and two, coach, because that is what I am absolutely passionate about. And then just was around weightlifting. Just was around Olympic weightlifting. I'd been to seminars over the years with Jack Oliver and Surrey Davis and some high-level sort of Olympic weightlifting people in the CrossFit gyms where I've been. It seemed to be like Olympic weightlifting was the thing, and it was the thing that I kind of veered towards more than anything. So I'd go to classes, but I found myself when I went in the gym, the one thing I would want to do is lift. I would want to do Olympic lifting. I just felt like this is my thing. I like this. And then I came here, and I've got a little bit of ADHD, which I'm currently being diagnosed for. And so this is why I believe that I go towards the understanding of it, is kind of a little bit obsessive with it. Then started coaching it, got qualified, started coaching, and just wanted to learn. Just wanted to. I've worked with some fantastic coaches. I've picked people's brains. I've stolen ideas from people, and I'm not, I'll never apologise for that. It's not stealing, is it? It's kind of,
it's all made up.
Reusing.
Yeah, but it's all made up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can make some shit up too, and you can take this guy.
Yeah. So social media, learning from coaches. Big one for me, learning from other sports. So I'll look at my lifters and I'll be thinking, right, how can I get that person to explode into extension to lift the bar? And then I'll go, right, how does the runner do it? How does a runner spring out of his toe, out of a block? What training are they doing for that? How does that sprinter do that? How does that MMA fighter explode out of the floor for a spinning heel kick? What are they doing? What are they training? You see Michael Chandler. I don't know if you
follow him. Yeah.
He does a lot of explosive plyometric training. And so
Yeah, he put some really good stuff out.
yeah, I'd look at his training and I'm thinking, right, he's doing these crazy jumps with dumbbells in his hand and he's jumping all this stuff and I'm like, I can use that.
Yeah, it's fun, that stuff.
I can use that. And rugby league, you know, how does a rugby league player for sort of like ultimate contact? What are they doing there? What are they doing in that moment when they brace themselves? Bang! What are they doing in training to optimize that? So that's kind of. Matt, I know you've asked me my background.
No, it's fine. It's because that's all relevant. It's all relevant.
I told you this is a little bit of the ADHD. So yeah, and so I got my qualification, my PT qualifications, my coaching qualification, teaching qualification, and then I went towards British weightlifting, got qualified as a British weightlifting coach, and then just got these I have a little bit of imposter syndrome with it, and still to this day I'm like, why do you want to come to me? Why do you want to come to me and do this? Yeah, so I've got a little bit of that. So that's kind of where all that came from, and now I've got some fantastic clients. I'm really lucky that people still come to me. They want to learn stuff, and been lucky with I have the workshops that I do. Sort of seasonally, if that's a word. So the spring workshop where I invite people from all over gyms. 20 odd of us. It's kind of a seminar type thing where we do 3 hours. I'll get another coach in from somewhere. So Georgia Radley, who is a high level CrossFitter, now going to be a high level weightlifter, and he's getting going into a really top time at the minute. He comes and co-coaches with me. Matt Mahoney came and co-coached.
Yeah, I saw him here last
one. He came and co-coached the last one with me. And the stuff that I learned that day can't begin.
Motorbike.
Funny your belly. Yeah, so Matt came that day, and he just opened my eyes to so much stuff about kind of activation of stuff and an awareness of muscle groups and how do you know that you're using that muscle? How do you switch it on? And it's kind of things that I'm still very much learning, but it's like the stuff that I see you do fascinates me. It's kind of like I never really think about an awareness of how can you use your lat and how best optimally, and how can you switch it on just before you lift? How do you know it's going to work for you? And so there's some stuff that I see you do. I'm like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use a bit of what Matt showed me. I'm going to use a bit of what Georgia showed me.
But that's so I talked to Terry about this morning. I was like, that's our job. Our job is, as far as I'm concerned, all of us in this realm. Check that. Oh, it's mine's a bit shitter than yours.
I'm getting you.
Yeah. Just sounds a bit shitter in my headphones. But yeah, we're all scientists. We're all researchers. That's how I view it. Like, I am a Bachelor of Science, but I think anyone in this industry, if you're in the field, you're doing research and you're figuring out how to train people and get them to stick to it. It's one of the reasons I'm doing psychology, because I'm like, well, how do we get people to stick to things better? How do we get them to take on board feedback better and take on board new habits, new ways of doing things? How do we rewrite? Because a big part of my problem is I get people coming in who are full, and a lot of it's how they're moving in everyday life and training, and you've got to kind of rewire that. So that means you've got to take them away and almost retrain them, which is really difficult. And I've like I said to Terry, I said, like, everyone in here, you can tell they have. What I see is a lot of people who are good at regressing and progressing.
Yeah.
Because what's your lowest level like?
So I'll pick a client up. Prime example is of someone that's been somewhere. So the big thing with Olympic weightlifting is a lot of people are self-taught and they learn by watching someone.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You watch it. A snatch happens like that. And a clean jerk happens like that. You can't really learn a lot from just watching it in real speed, real time, if you like. But you know what it looks like.
Yeah.
You make yourself a meal, it looks like. Make it look like that. But it doesn't mean it's going to be any good. What I'll do with everybody bar none, regardless of experience level, is we go back to PVC Park. This person can have a 100 kilo snatch. A lady can have a 70 odd kilo snatch. We go back to the PVC pipe and we will spend as long as we need to with the PVC pipe and getting that person. The big thing with weightlifting is you have to understand the lift. You have to understand your positions. You have to understand. People think it's about your arms. It's not your legs. You use your bloody legs in weightlifting. People are very army and they're like, yeah, it's all about this. It's nothing to do with this. It's all about your legs. So I'll go back to the pipe every single person that comes in here. And it's a little bit humbling for some people. They don't like it. And it's kind of like, Longy, I snatched 80 kilos last week. Yeah, but you do it right. Because you could probably snatch 100 kilos if you're doing it right. So, yeah, absolutely agree with you. And that's what I'll do with, and everybody that you speak to that's worked with me, the first words I'll say to them is, I'm treating you now like you know nothing. And we start again. And it's worked. You know, it's worked.
Well, you can, again, like I said to Terry, I've seen a few other CrossFit places, and I'm very much an outsider to the CrossFit world. I'm just kind of observer.
Yeah.
I've kind of watched it, got a feel for it, but I look at it from, well, what condition are the people coming to me like?
Yeah.
So straight away, I'm like, these guys are looking better than a lot of the other athletes I see, but they're holding up better as well, despite the high intensity, which kind of goes against my initial hypothesis like 5-6 years ago when I was powerlifting, where I'm like, how long can you keep doing that? Where I'm now seeing, well, actually, a lot of powerlifters and strongmen and BJJ athletes and people, they're all pretty chewed up. I'd say out of all the athlete populations I treat, bar maybe footballers, I'd say like CrossFitters doing really well.
Yeah.
You know, there's some tendon issues, but I honestly think that's just a space issue. I think it's just we've got some jacked people.
Yeah.
And the tendons have got thicker, the muscles are thicker, the bones are thicker, and we're running out of space. And they're getting worn. You know, you'll see this a lot. You know, quite a few of the girls are like this, and the hench.
Yeah.
We just need to, let's say, we just need to get a bit more space in there.
Absolutely,
If we can get a bit more space in there, they'll perform better. But we've got to be on it quickly. But my point was, you've got a Cali guy here. You've got specialists in lifting here.
Yeah.
You've got good lifting coaches, and you can tell. I know the Adlington lads did some work down here as well, didn't they?
Well, there's a story there.
I just know because one of my clients, Helen, I used to train ages ago. I used to do a bit of powerlifting with.
I forgot his name. He's a big guy. He's basically the head coach at Adlington Barbell Club.
Yeah.
He was coaching the weightlifting class here, and for whatever reason that came to an end.
Yeah.
But I used to go to it, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is fantastic! It's great, ooh, weightlifting." Ooh. And he left, and the week after it was like, "Well, there's a weightlifting class here." Longy.
Yeah.
Class here. And I took it over from him. And that then turned into something that we called barbells. So a little bit more CrossFit.
Yeah.
And it went away from just being a weightlifting class.
Yeah.
And it essentially is now what's full force. So that's
full
force is my thing. It's like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, full force. And that essentially is it's CrossFit. It's a CrossFit class, but we're not an affiliate and we can't call ourselves CrossFit. Not that there's any need to, but
should be sold anyway, isn't it?
I don't know.
Well, one of the owners has walked away. Go podcast with him a bit about that.
It's a little strange. It's a little bit culty in it. It's a little bit money making. It's kind of like I see that. Well, you're not a CrossFit coach. Well, hang on a minute. So you paid $2,000 to want a 2-day course. You're a CrossFit coach, so you can do that, and I can't. Come
on. But my point is, what I see here. Again, I'm just an observer, and I'm looking at like what I see from an injury prevention thing, from a performance thing, from a longevity thing, right? And being able to just do cool shit for as long as possible.
Absolutely.
That's my thing.
100%.
So you're looking for pieces that allow you to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, these guys are in a lot better condition than I thought they were going to be. The fucking beasts. They're putting the work in. There's people coming twice a day, and they're doing okay.
Yeah.
So it's about, but again, I also look in as like all these, like I said, these specialists.
Yeah.
And that's what builds the skill up. Whereas if you've just got CrossFit coaches, they're just going to do CrossFit stuff, which is fine. Yeah. You need some of that, obviously. But I'm like, but if you've got a Cali guy, you know what? You're really rubbish at that. We'll spend a few weeks with, is it Levi? Yeah. I think I want to pronounce his name wrong.
Unbelievable.
But exactly. But if you're struggling with the gymnastics thing, go and spend 2 months with them, and you'll come back and be so much better. Or if your lifts are stalled, okay, go back to you and get a PVC pipe and relearn the basics, because that's what you need, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's where I see the strength of having someone like Terry kind of leading it, who isn't afraid to bring people in and isn't afraid to try different. Like we spent 2 hours this morning just showing each other shit. Have you tried this? oh, fucking like that. Oh, that's good. And that was it. It was like 2 hours of kids.
He's a freak, innit?
But we're just kids playing.
I've always said this to him. He's a freak. There's a little bit of the gypsy blood going on with Terry. There's nothing he can't do. And I've said this to him a million times, and I'm forever grateful for Terry because without him, I wouldn't be doing this. I just wouldn't. My business would not have been a success. It wouldn't have started.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been what I feel like is being successful. And I've not seen him. There's nothing he can't do. There's nothing he can't like switch his brain onto. And if you watch him, he knocks himself over his weightlifting. He's like, I can't snatch. Watch him snatch.
Yeah, he's well good.
Watch him.
I mean,
technically beautiful.
Yeah, it looks good to me. Obviously, I don't know that much about it. It's something that I very much have no experience in.
Yeah.
But like you said, watching and going, I'll try that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
yeah. It's little things like it's like there's a lot of little nuances with weightlifting that people never think about, such as like yanking the bar, early arm bend. You'll never not hear this said, but your arms have got to be relaxed all the way through a lift. If your arms are tense, you ain't getting into that front position. You ain't pulling yourself around the bar fast. You've got to have beautifully relaxed arms. You've got to hit your extension. You've got to be fast. But you've got to be controlled. And I always talk about delicate aggression. Such a weird term when I say it, but it's so right about footwork. It's a delicate movement, but it's aggressive. It's a real delicate movement, but it's aggressive. And watch Terry, going back to what we were talking about. If you slow a video down of Terry weightlifting, he could be like high level.
Well, he was showing me some push jerks today with kettlebells.
Freak.
And it's just so smooth, so slow.
Freak.
I'm like smashing into the ground. And he's like, and he got me to do it okay a couple of times.
Yeah.
Same with the the pull-up stuff and the kicking stuff. But that's the same thing. It's that relaxation. Interestingly, so you're on about you watch athletes. I'm saying I watch like sprinters, jumpers, deep throwers. I'm obsessed at them because one of the things I found is like my shoulders just have never felt good. Even when I could bench like fucking like ridiculous, I could do like 100 for like nearly 20 reps. Like, you know what I mean? But my shoulders always felt shit.
Yeah.
Even when I could overhead press decent amount, still felt shit.
Yeah.
Always felt shit. But what I found is when I start, like you said, that letting them go long, but violent, and then I start watching throwing athletes, and I'm like, oh, this is something. This, because, and that's where I go into like, well, that's where everything's working together. That's the system working together to sort of stabilize while that violent force is produced.
I love that term, delicate aggression.
No, I like that. That's
crazy.
It'll stay with me. That
and you see it in so many sports. Watch a javelin thrower as he approaches his line. Delicate, lovely strides, then bang.
But it's that, and that's what I always say. It's about that ability to be truly relaxed and then explode.
100%.
I've always been very tense, always, and it never served me in martial arts. I get through, but then you have them fuckers who, just be lying outside at mats,
calm,
just dead chilled, not arsed, not really paying attention, and then you get on that like a panther, just explode. Yeah. And that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what I think movement should be. I think that's what we lost because of life, because of modern life and stress and everything that happens to us.
Yeah.
I think we just lose that ability to just, like, no, we're sat here, we're not that relaxed. You know what I mean? It's like you sit on the couch, you think you're relaxed.
I think we're always thinking about what's next, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think it's like, I'll go out there now, pick my phone up. What's next?
Yeah.
What's next? What's happening? What's on to them? What am I doing with the kids? There's so much going on. If you think back to, I don't know, times when people all they had to do was go and catch a pig and eat it.
Yeah.
That's what was next for them. It weren't what was on Instagram. It weren't what's on the telly. It weren't what the kids did. Well, obviously it was what the kids did. And just set the pigs to them. You know what I mean? That was it. That's what's next. That's it. What am I going to eat? Our brains weren't sort of designed for so much information.
No, it's why I like walking, just with nothing, or running, like long runs where I've got nothing, no headphones or anything, just run, and it just lets your head just.
Yeah.
I love that. When you've not got to be anywhere, because you know what it's like when you've got kids.
I can't remember a time recently where I've not had to be somewhere.
I just try and engineer it, so I get up early. I get up early so I can. I've got 3 kids, man. So and I'm at uni, so it's like I get up early, and I walk in.
Yeah.
And that hour it's just fucking bliss. And I get it, and I've figured some stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's giving that time to decompress, because like you said, we just don't get that space.
I get that feeling when I'm training. There's no thought. There's no thought other than what's present.
If I've got adequate time,
Yeah.
I don't like constraint.
Yeah.
You know, like, you have to be done by this time. I don't like it when I just like that freedom. You know what I mean? It's one of the reasons I like working for myself. You know.
Yeah. So in 2010, I was involved in a pretty serious accident at work. I got electrocuted at a cannabis farm, and then was diagnosed with PTSD after it.
Right. Okay.
And it was around that. So at the time, I was just playing rugby.
Bad electrocution.
Yeah, pretty bad. Yeah, like to the point where resource, body armor cut
off.
Okay. Pads, bang, had to be put back in. Yeah. Cut. Well, like a unit like this.
Yeah.
Cable hanging out of the wall. Been made safe by United Utilities apparently. And the police search kits, you know, they get bits in them from various places, and we just had some tin snips that you'd cut. You put rose pruning with. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, bulletproof. Goes to this wire, bang. Don't really remember that. I was told that this is what had happened. And then the next thing I'm aware of is being in resource in what was then Hope Hospital, Salford Royal Infirmary, with my shirt off, pads on my chest, and I'm thinking, wired up to the mains, and I'm thinking, why have I been defibbed? And it was, they explained later, it was just to knock my heart back in rhythm.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you get an electric shock, it just.
I got one at Tesco, but not that bad.
Yeah.
I had to have a heart scan and everything.
Yeah.
But someone hadn't put a dryer on properly.
Oh,
I worked on butchers, one of my last departments I did, wiping down. His fucking dryer fell off, and the arm with a wet cloth just fell in it. Luckily, I think I had my cons on. You know, I didn't have my steel toe caps or anything. And I fucking yanked it off, and all my arm went pink.
Yeah, well, I had obviously my boots on. And where it was explained to me, your arm can go one or two ways when you get a shock when you've got grip. It can either do that or it can do that.
Yeah.
And if it does that,
you're fucked.
So I think I've gone that way. And then
I went, like I said, I remember mine, it was like that. And it was strong. You know, I had to rip it off. And that was just a hand dryer.
Yeah.
Not some dodgy wire in some...
See, I don't remember mine because I obviously banged my head. So when I've been thrown off it, I've banged my head somehow. So I'm assuming I've been that's knocked me out. So I don't really remember it. But anyway, I got diagnosed with PTSD after it. There's just some weird shit going on. It was like weirdly in Tesco. I was there with my daughter, blacked out at the till. And it was like this smell. And a woman came to me and went, "Hey, love, you all right? What are you doing? You've just been stood there for a minute and your daughter's wondering what the fuck's going on." She was only like 3, something like that. Yeah. So then it was like panic. It was a panic attack essentially. So the PTSD thing carried on and various things. And that's when I started training. That was when I figured out training, the best antidepressant, the best anti-anxiety drug anybody can give themselves is just simply to be active. And when I was talking about peace, that's the feeling that I get. It's probably the only time when I actually feel true peace, other than when you're asleep. Then often not because of my dreams. But when I'm training, and the feeling after, I can feel like absolute dog shit before I train. But I know 1,000,000%, the minute that barbell hits the floor, hat comes off, I'm good.
Yeah, you always feel that.
Good. And I can't tell anybody that has got some bad shit going on. I spoke to one of my clients this week, going through a bit of a rough time. My parting words to her were, keep training.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
This is where it's like, I've very much enjoyed being a coach, right? I've very much enjoyed helping people. I've seen clients come on to, go on to be coaches. I've seen some people do some cool shit, but then you see a lot fall by the wayside. You see a lot of people who, they don't make it, they don't get it, they don't build those habits, they don't keep training, and that's hard. And it's one of the reasons I'm trying to learn more about psychology, because I'm like, how do we get those folks to, it's like you've obviously, associated with this feeling. You know, so it's like, and you know, and it's like, I know, it's like,
going to the cupboard and taking a pill.
I've just got to do it. It's just, it's like, I heard Joe Rogan say it all the time, but it's the truth. It's my medicine.
100%.
Like, when I, like, the
100%.
times I'm feeling super stressed, I've got a load to worry about. Like I said, a load of walking, a load of training, you know, treat a lot of people, I go to bed happy. I'm physically exhausted and I sleep well. And I keep saying to Mrs. because she's like, sometimes, you know, like we all do struggle to sleep, kids are up, whatever. And she's like, yo, what am I supposed to do? Just get up at 3 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, just fucking get up, do something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, I'll be knackered. I'm like, yeah, but you'll sleep good the next night. And I know that sounds dead simple, you know, for people who can't sleep. But sometimes, rather than lying there tossing and turning, sort some shit out, because there's some shit you're probably not dealing with. If you get up and just walk, just walking can be so good for you. And that's the first thing that not anyone can do it, but you know what I mean? That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, get to the gym. And then you find, like, you get this thing that just makes you feel better and everything's easier. And if you just get past them points where you don't want to. And people say to me, you know, for years now, I've had clients going, you know, it is, I just don't feel like it. And I find it really, really hard I empathise, I really do. And I go, okay, I sort of understand, but I don't because I've not missed in years because I can't.
Yeah.
Because
it's difficult.
Because it's like, I can't imagine. Because for me, I'm saying, man, like, you know, ADHD, 100%. Like, my missus always laughs at me and, you know, she'll show me examples on TV. Look at this guy saying just like you. Yeah.
That's exactly what
it's a reality show, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'd rather have my crazy brain. It's got me to here. I just need to learn to manage it. Because I think it's, so you, as soon as I could see that fire in your eyes when you're talking about movements and watching, I'm like, oh, thank God someone who gets it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm like. I'm sat there and I'm watching
obsessive,
a hammer thrower or a shot putter, and I'm watching them spin. And to me, I'm like, I'm seeing the anatomy, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, can you apply that to kicking? Can you apply that? I'm like, I'm obsessed. And then I read a study about something, and that goes into it.
Yeah.
Like, and now, like, my uni work is coming into this work. And it's like, and it's like this tapestry that you're just like interpreting all the time.
Yeah.
But that's what my brain allows me to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to change that.
So the ADHD thing for me started probably about 18 months ago now, where I've always known I always say a touch of autism. So it's like there's something been going on. Been going on, like through when you're a kid, the way that things have gone, the way that you behave, the way that little tune will get in your head for 10 minutes and it'll be and it won't go away. Little things like how you become a little bit obsessed with stuff in a good way, in a bad way. But I've always said for all of the bad that it's brought me, there's a little bit of magic with it. And the little bit of magic is very much helped me in there.
Yeah.
A little bit of the obsessiveness, the wanting to understand everything, the wanting to give it to someone, get them to apply it right, send me a video of your lift, the feedback, everything. And so I've always embraced the ADHD. Don't take that away from me. Whatever it is. And I was the biggest skeptic of it when they started giving naughty kids ADHD. I'm like, stop calling naughty kids that. But I never really got it. But I think now we understand it. Oh God.
What I would say is there's definitely some things exacerbating it, and I think, you know, diet's probably exacerbating it. I think just the shit in the food system and the shit in the environment. Modern life's fucking shit. They're going to look back on us in 100 years and go, these silly bastards wonder why they all had cancer. And they were literally rubbing chemicals on themselves all day long. Everything was covered. I saw something the other day. It was like gym leggings that give you fucking cancer. It was like, because we don't regulate the shit we put in clothes.
No.
It's just there's so many things we do that I think we're going to look, like we look back on people and go, oh, you should drill holes in people's brains. We're going to look back on a lot of shit we're doing.
Yeah.
And, well, people are going to, after us, are going to go, these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
But there's that. But at the same time, my kid, one of my lads, he's very like hyperactive, and I can understand me better now.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where I've set against this point where I think you just come into the world how you are, mate.
Yeah.
And I think the world messes you up. I talked to a Buddhist the other day who's trained to be a Buddhist monk, and it was dead funny because we ended up having this really good conversation about it. You know, randomly this guy was treating. But I'm like, and I see it in my son. But I'm like, but why would you want to be like everyone else? You know what I mean? Because so many people are fucking unhappy. So many people don't ever feel what you have felt coaching.
No.
Like, ever.
No.
They just, look, man, and to a cop, I don't know how you feel about it, but I meet a lot of people who are cops. I always wanted to be one. I always thought of it as this fulfilling career and this, I looked up to them dead bad. And I'm looking at it now, and every cop I meet is just damaged, man.
Miserable.
Damaged. Because you're dealing with so
I can
much
speak to
shit,
that.
so much shit on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You've got people, like, I heard someone describe it as everyone you talk to is lying to you. You know, basically.
Yeah.
Everyone's just aggressive. Every interaction, someone might stab you, someone might hit you, someone might, so you are what, like, when I've treated them, man, like, these people come in and I treat them and they get up after I've battered them and go, I just feel really good.
Yeah.
Like, I get this one girl in, she's based up in Preston, and she just takes it like a trooper, doesn't say a word. She's like, oh, this is mint, this, I love it. And it's because she's so stressed that relief, it just takes it, she's just like, oh, you know, it's like she needs, and you can see her wearing it on a tissue.
Yeah.
And I think for me, from my perspective, is that type of stuff we would have worked out through physical activity back in the day.
Yeah.
You get stressed out by a situation, you're rolling around in the dirt 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, you get stressed out and you sat in a car.
Yeah.
And it's like that energy doesn't go anywhere.
No.
And it's like, and we see it in people, we see it in office workers, we see it in people who just chronically. Being a cop, man.
So I joined the cops in 2003. Was sent to Coventry for 15 weeks to do my initial training, and then was only an operational cop, so out and about for about 8 years. And then the accident happened, and I kind of never went back out after that because I think they was a little bit scared of me. You know, it's one of them. It's kind of like you become then what's called a restricted officer. But in the 8 years operational at Salford, the shit that I saw dealt with is, I always say this about my police career. I could write a book just based on the first 6 months. You could write a book about it, and I've got mental health problems, which have, you know, and I never shy away from it. But when I sit and think, why have I got mental health problems? Why have I got anxiety? Why do I sometimes feel low, and why do I sometimes feel high and a little bipolar? And, you know, why am I like that? And then I could sit and list people throwing themselves off bridges, people throwing themselves under the back six of an HGV, guy killing his wife, you know, missing kids, abused kids. There might be something in there that offers a little bit of an explanation for it. Sad thing is, I've got to be pretty careful what I say, because obviously I'm still in it.
Yeah.
I just get a little bit disappointed in what is offered to police officers just to help them.
So I think I view nurses and healthcare the same, because we look at these people, and again, like, man, go to hospital and the staff there, so many of them are unhealthy physically.
Cops, mate.
Well,
honestly,
I know exactly.
The driver drivers 10 hours, mate. HGV drivers on a tachograph. HGV drivers on a tachograph. Cop jumps in a car at 9 o'clock at night. Don't get out of it till 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. But mentally and physically, like, so unhealthy. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Even the ones who physically have got, you know, mental stuff going on. But we, like you said, we don't do, like, shouldn't we just have, like, I don't know, I don't think you should work as many hours.
Respite.
Yeah, I don't think you should work as many hours. You should probably have compulsory, like, time off every so many weeks.
Removed.
You should probably have to go to, like, you know, a psych or a counsellor, and there should be people working with you all the time. Yeah. You should have, like, access to health clubs. You should have, because it's such an important job. Like, so important. Like, so important.
And just imagine a life without them.
And we should have, like, it's weird because I just don't feel we have that same respect we did even when I was a kid.
No.
When I was a kid, because we used to see a lot more on the beat. And
you shit yourself.
Yeah, like that bag of cans. Sorry, sir. You know what I mean? It was, yeah, like, oh man.
I got took home me back once for climbing on a scaffold on a building site, and I put it, honest to God, one of the worst things that ever happened to me as a kid. I absolutely shit myself. I thought PC Briggs caught me on the scaffold, put me in the back of the van, took me home, and I thought, oh my God.
I got caught setting fireworks off near where Rocket is, down a grid.
Yeah.
And it went out, and I thought, oh, thank God. And then it just went, yeah. Car we tried to go round corner. They just reversed, the fastest I've ever seen a car reverse.
Crazy.
Crossed us off, and they let us go.
Yeah.
Would you get the fireworks? Found them. Would you get a lighter? Found them. Yeah. Really sorry, sir. And I can't remember who taught it. Maybe my dad. Be polite. Be respectful. Be polite. Be apologetic. Don't be a prick. and you'll be okay. And it did serve me on the
Yeah,
interactions with them, because we
yeah,
never did anything too bad, but we fucked around like
yeah,
every kid did.
yeah.
But
But it
again,
was the worst thing in the world to you, wasn't
oh
it?
yeah, we had this fear.
It was like, oh my God.
What I remember about it. Oh my mates, idiots. Absolutely. And this is why, tangent, but this is why I have so much respect when I see people on the street, when I see people who've ended up in crime. I was at a point where, so I was with my mate, and we were coming back from like Maxim's Tavern or something. We were into rock nights. So we're coming back, we see a few of our mates. I think two of them were trying to kick over a parking meter. They were like mates, but they were the rougher mates.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we're just going to go this way. Well, we found a key to a car. It was in the car. We're going to go and rob it in a bit. None of them knew how to drive.
No.
And, and we went, luckily. And I always remember that decision, because they all tried to rob this car.
Could have gone tits up right there.
Well, they decided to then, one of my mates decided to smash the windows on it because he thought they'd run away. They went back to it. They're trying to drive. None of them can drive. They're pushing it. And they all got arrested.
Yeah.
All got records.
And that's it.
And I was like, oh my, and it's like, and that decision there,
Yeah.
that one decision could have changed things for me.
Yeah.
And then but my point is like, yeah, it was like, just hearing about it was like, oh my God, like stressful and scary. And like, they didn't take no, my mates, the cops didn't take no shit off on me either,
It's just very, so I did 7 years in police training, and the people that are coming very young, very naive, very like not a lot of like, it's like they've not got a lot of life experience.
Yeah, and I can't fight, man.
Road sense.
Like I've talked to cops who are sorry to butt in, but that's another thing. Like the amount who don't have any combat training.
Yeah, you do get. I mean, don't get me wrong. You do get what they call you back. You do get a little bit. You get a little bit.
Man,
like,
there's
side restrict thumb.
Yeah, there's a little bit, and there's being able to fight.
It's not enough compared to what the cops in America get. If you look at the cops in America, sending them to jiu-jitsu classes.
Well, they also have in some states a requirement that you have to have a certain level of education as well.
Yeah.
Or make it up.
Well, that's coming here slowly now. Is that
but
you've got to have a degree.
Yeah, but that you don't. That could end up being. The problem is, I think for me, you need that or a bridging system. Because, man, I've only just gone back into education. I had no A levels. I dropped out of college. I went to no lessons.
Yeah.
I spent 6 months just getting high. Because I got to college and I was like, I got leave and, girls were accessible to me. You know what I mean? So I was just, I'm going to party. I want money. I've been skint all my life. I want money. I want to party. And then I've made it up in later life. So you've got people out there who've got potential. And I don't think you want to put, because I think you'll just end up with some right idiots if you do that.
Well, I didn't really understand it. As I was leaving training, what they said was you've got to come in with a degree, or then you've got to go on when you join the police. You go into the pathway of getting a degree in policing, and it confused me a little bit. I'm like, if you're going to get a degree, I'm pretty sure you're not going to go and join the cops on 19 grand a year to put up with the shit that you get. And what good is a degree in policing to you outside of the police? And I was a little bit confused by that. But anyway, that's the way that they decided to go for a little bit. I'm not sure if that's the case now. But for me, it was always about so part of our job when we were training was are they going to be over a 10-week period?
Yeah.
Do they cut the mustard? The big thing, can they communicate with people? Can they talk? Can they empathise? Can they sympathise with people?
Oh yeah, because that'll stop so much.
Can they bollock someone? Bollock someone, but in a constructive way. Have they got control? Can they control the temper? Can they, all that type of stuff. So you'd observe that over a 10-week period. And some didn't. Some were just like, right, but this ain't going to be for you. Honest conversations with people, this ain't going to be for you. This is going to, but what I can't understand is how they've got to that point. That assessment should have taken place earlier. So I'm always a little bit critical of, I don't know whose fault it is, but that assessment should have taken place a little bit earlier before they got to it.
I always lean towards like, should it not be like, maybe not as extreme, but some sort of, you just go through a fucking boot camp first. Where you physically push people and you see what they're about. You
do go through an assessment day. So you go for a day at like one of the training centres and they'll put you in like a little bit. I don't know. I never understood it. So they'd sit you across a desk and they'd get someone in and like to report something to you and see how you deal with it. They'd get you to sit around a table with other people.
Yeah, I imagine they've got
conversation. How can you? So the communication assessment was right. There's a subject. All chat about it, and then he was observed in that sort of environment. But not in a real there was no real assessment of how you would deal with like serious confrontation and conflict.
But I think that
I don't ever remember that happening.
I can only go with someone who could never like defend himself. You know, victim of a lot of violence over the years, and that's why I got into martial arts. Like I did karate and stuff myself. That was the first thing, and the confidence that came from being able to handle myself. Then all of a sudden, all those things you said just came naturally.
Yeah.
Because I weren't shitting myself.
Yeah.
So I could stay calm.
Mm.
I could calm myself down. I could calm that situation down.
Yeah.
And for me, that's worth the confidence, having that physical confidence in your capabilities.
I think so, yeah.
I think it helps, like, personally, and I think it's, like, especially for a job where people are going to fucking swing at you.
Yeah.
And like you said, that was another point you made before I come back to it. Like, I remember one of my managers at Tesco, we're all sat in the manager's meeting. We're all sat round. He's bollocking everyone. Yeah. I loved him. I got on with him. I worked hard. But he was lunatic. This big, tall bugger. Arms going everywhere. I just remember this one line. You all get paid more than police officers for working in a supermarket.
Yeah.
Be grateful. Get out there. Yeah. Do your jobs. And I was like, yeah, he's right. That's better than getting stabbed off a smacker.
Absolutely.
But it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
You know what I feel as well is so being trained in combat and being able to handle yourself, defend yourself, you know, whatever. There's also a lot to be said. I've always been pretty good at talking to people.
Yeah.
I've always felt like I'm a pretty good communicator. I'm always the one that gets asked to read the eulogies at funerals and stuff. So one of the things that has given me a lot of confidence over the years is that I'm always confident that I can talk myself out of something.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that in here, that's another thing. I'm always confident that whoever it is that walks through the door, regardless of experience level, regardless of confidence levels, regardless of what they want from me, that just through this, and this alone, that we can do something. We can make progress.
Yeah.
And I've always been as much as your fists and being able to choke someone and restrain someone is good. Just as important is someone's ability just to effectively communicate.
Well, I don't mean you need to be a fucking high level fighter.
Yeah.
I just feel that I know myself personally because again, being small and weak, you learn how to, like you said, to suit yourself to certain people and situations.
Yeah.
So
adapt.
Yeah, I treat a linguist and she'd call it like code switching. So you can communicate to them on their level.
Yeah.
And that's a skill.
That's it.
It's a skill in coaching. It's a skill in what you do.
That's it.
You need to be able to talk to the ground worker
Language.
the same as you talk to like a doctor.
Language.
Yeah. And it's like, so when I'm with Steve, who trained me in the kinetic, so he's a former rugby player, he's got glass eye, absolutely smashing from years of rugby. Just, he has his way of saying things, his way of doing things. Very confident guy. It's one of them, you're around him and you feel well just being around him. But he's got his way of explaining things.
Absolutely.
But when he's got someone in, like when he's had clinicians in, he likes me there because I can kind of translate him to them.
Yeah.
I can bridge the gap between the two worlds. Because obviously when I'm at uni, I talk differently to how I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it bleeds in. I think they help each other.
Yeah.
But that's what's cheap. And she said it's code switching. I was like, I like that.
It's unbelievable. I love it.
But that ability is so valuable.
It is. It's particularly on the gym floor is your ability to switch your cadence. It's like it's the speed in which you talk to people. The language that you use, the tone. Where's your tone? Is it up here? Is it down there? It affects conversation and outcome. It's so massively important. And I'll always say my eldest daughter, she pisses me off a little bit because she's not got that at the minute. She's no ability to communicate.
Yeah.
But it's because everything's done through fucking phone. And this is what worries me about. It doesn't worry me. It does worry me about my own kids, but people don't communicate with each other anymore because they write to each other. They write messages to each other, which is like, the voice note. You send me a voice note.
Yeah.
I like that because I can hear you. I can hear your sincerity,
Yeah.
the sincerity in your voice. And I know I've replied to you with fucking messages.
Yeah, but I'm saying it depends on where I'm at.
you are, yeah.
Again, I like to walk, but then that allows me to check in with my clients doing that. And I like that. So I get up early on a Friday and I go to my first appointment.
Yeah.
It's a big walk, you know. But what I do is I check in with quite a few of my clients
Yeah.
and other things I'm doing. And I send them all voice notes on the way. And I'm like, this is me. Because I get that time to myself.
Yeah.
I've been productive.
Yeah.
And it's just a good way of doing it. But like you said, I hate messages because it's so hard. It's like, it's hard to type a post.
There's no context in it.
Yeah, it's hard to type a post in the way you want it to come across.
No feeling, no context.
Yeah, so I like to do a video with a bit of,
absolutely,
you know, and that seems to be the way to do it. A simple video with some informative
100%.
stuff, and then add on to it.
Yeah.
But but that comes back down to what we're talking about. That's that ability to get these people from where they're at to where we want them to be. And it's like, okay, I want you to bend that bar. They're just not getting it. I want you to squeeze your scaps together. They're all that means. You know, some like it. I want you, and there's always something.
Yeah.
Okay, this little clink here, can you feel that?
Yeah.
I'm talking about deadlifts here. Take that out. And then but everyone's different. And it's that ability to go, what does this person need today? Or even like you're doing something and you're like, this person is not liking this.
Yeah. So
they're having a bad day.
I sometimes can come across as a bit of a crazy bastard with some people in here because of the cues that I'll use, and it's amazing how many people I've seen come in here, and this is the terminology I always use for Olympic weightlifting. It's a cheat code. Olympic weightlifting is a cheat code for lifting heavy shit.
Yeah.
It's tricking yourself to be able to use the biggest muscles in your body, which are your legs, your glutes, your quads, the strongest part of your body, and your body weight to lift heavy shit. I can't strict press 100 kilos over my head, but I can fucking get my legs to send it and drop under it.
Yeah.
So I'll always say to people, it's amazing how many still people don't quite grasp that Olympic weightlifting is the cheat code to lifting heavy shit that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to lift strictly. So I always talk, I'm like, right, first thing I want to tell you here is Olympic weightlifting, it's the cheat code. And it's little cues like that and getting people, I get it now. So we're lifting heavy shit, but by doing it with our legs and dropping under it, then to get it to the optimal position that I would have never been able to get it there, but just by putting it here and lifting it. And it's amazing how many people still don't understand what Olympic weightlifting is. So I use little words like that, cheat code. It's the cheat code. And
well, you're reframing it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in psychology. You're reframing it.
Yeah.
You're just reframing that thing and allows them to perceive it better. So if someone's going to get something, stick to it, get good at it. The kind of the drive, based on self-determination theory, this theory is that it's got to come from within.
Yeah.
So it's got to come from in here. Mm-hmm. If it's because you want to impress someone or you want to look better, that's fleeting.
Yeah.
You know, that's whereas if it comes from within, but for it to come within, you have to feel competent in it. So you have to understand it. You have to know what you're supposed to do. You have to be able to relate to it and maybe relate to those around. You know, just like these different aspects of doing it. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to bring that thing to them.
Yeah.
So one of my mates who's a coach in West Autumn Loose, he's more like strongman powerlifting, you know, strength training.
Steve Burrows is old coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks to me a lot about him.
Yeah.
I hear a lot I like it. I like what I hear about him.
Lou's cool. Me and Lou have we sat down and chatted before. We've been friends for like a number of years.
Yeah.
He's cool. You know, he said this thing to me when I sat down with him. It was like, meet people where they're at. And I really liked it because that's what we're trying to do. Like so in a way, but that for me, we're trying to bring what we have to them, to where they are and meet them at their level. And again, it's something that used to frustrate me so much as a coach.
Yeah.
I get people coming to me who've been training for a long time. And it was just like basic stuff. Like they didn't have this basic mastery of the body. You know, just like sitting down on a box control or stepping up on it. And you're like, you were doing what? Like some 50-year-old guy who's like smashed himself up doing box jumps and he can't swing a kettlebell and he's got no coordination. And you're like, you're doing what? Like box jumps for reps in a circuit.
Yeah.
Because like people call, again, and I've been guilty of this, going, that CrossFit league's fucking mental. How long can you do that?
It is mental.
No, but what I'm saying, I'm seeing evidence to the contrary to that. I'm seeing evidence that these people are actually faring really well. But so now I'm intrigued as to why. And then I'm looking, again, this is a really good example. It's the best example I've seen so far. And not just, okay, I'm not even judging by the athletes it produces, although I see some pretty fucking cool people in here.
Yeah.
You know, like, thing you just come here, is it Meg?
She's out there now.
Yeah, like beast. Yeah, but there's loads of them. That's just one of many people. You're like, Jesus Christ, this person's like impressive. You know?
You ever seen Imogen Burrows?
Yeah.
So Imogen started with me 18 months ago, barely been in a gym. Certainly never done Olympic weightlifting. Snatched 65 kilos at 62 kilos last week.
Yeah, she looks like, I've seen you put stuff on and I've seen Steve put stuff on.
Yeah.
But like, that's what I mean. It's like, it's cool, but it's the vibe as well. It's the right environment for growth to occur. Because back to what we were talking about earlier, her job is to do exactly what you're doing. It's to look at all these different things and how does that apply to here? How does this apply to that? You know, we want people, like we just talked about how important it is for mental health. And your mental health, my mental health, and all these, and a lot of us are doing that. In particular, there's crazy fuckers who just got too much energy to burn. I've got so much stuff I like doing. Well, I want to do it for a long time. I want to still be doing this in 10, 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? I still want to be able to lift. I still want to be able to train. The way I was training, I didn't have long left.
Yeah.
You know, because I got too far into just lifting as heavy as possible, very limited.
Yeah.
Whereas I see this and I'm like, well, no, I can, like the lifting, they're doing the Olympic movements, but that transfers to this, it transfers to that. And it's like, that's what I get excited by.
Yeah.
And that's for me, but I see, again, that here, there seems to be a bit of room to grow.
Yeah.
It's not as culty as other ones.
Yeah.
You know, this is all we do. I've even seen people talking about, like, they'll talk about movement, but their entire understanding of movement is tied to the one discipline.
Yeah.
And while CrossFit is, you know, it's a combination of different things, it's people going, well, strong people can't run, runners are skinny.
Yeah.
Let's put it together. And it's got a lot of good elements.
Mm.
There's other stuff out there. It's now that's been there. So this is now the new foundation. And it's up to us to bring in other stuff, but also now let's apply this to other sports as well.
Yeah.
You know, because I think other sports can gain from it.
If I write a class, I can connect every single movement in that class with an Olympic lift. A kettlebell, the extension of your ankles, knees and hips to optimize the lift.
Yeah.
Kettlebell swing. Box jump, explosive extension, bang, to go up onto the box. A thruster, same thing. Squat down, explode your glutes through, press. You can put that over into clean jerk. A fucking handstand push-up. That explosion of legs and press, bang. I can connect a wall ball, same thing. It's an explosive press. Everything. So what I will try and do in classes in particular, I'll say, right, this is your warm-up. We're doing a clean and jerk session today, so I'm going to do 10 kettlebell swings, 10 wall squats, 10 down-ups, 3 times. I want you to think about here, we're doing a clean and jerk today, so we're building to a heavy single for the day. Let's have a think about with your kettlebell swings, what we're doing with our glutes. Are we extending? Are we opening up? Let's have a think about our wall squats. Are we keeping our chest up and open as we're facing the wall? And yeah, so I'll often make them go, right, this is why you're doing this in the warm-up. And this is how it's going to help you in this clean and jerk.
Yeah.
And with CrossFit, what I've found is, as I understood it, as I started to understand it and work with some very good coaches over the years, and I've learned so much from them. And that's what's really important in CrossFit. You can't be coached shitly, because that's when it gets dangerous. If it's not coached well, and people aren't relating, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this movement? How is that going to help me? That's when CrossFit gets dangerous, or functional fitness, whatever we want to call it. So there's a massive responsibility to those people that have stood in front of that whiteboard, I believe, in keeping that environment and that sport safe. And I've seen some shit coaches. I've seen some poor ones. And I've learned just as much from them as I have the good ones.
You learn most from them?
100%. 100%.
Like that's how I got started in coaching. I just watched people who were like, I learned some lessons from, you know, bad coaches, and I was like, don't do that. You know, don't make people feel like that.
Yeah.
Don't behave like that. Don't, you know, do it that way. Don't be resistant. The biggest one, man, just don't be resistant to change, and don't
100%.
Don't be resistant to like that someone's got a piece for you. You know that you can't. What is it again? What's that saying? You know, you are not your ideas.
No.
They're just things. You know that you have them, but they're not you. So if people attack them, they're not attacking you. If you see something contrary to your beliefs, It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. It's not, you know what I mean? People take it personally. People build the whole identities around it. You know, they build the whole identities around a certain way of training, a certain way of being. I'm talking about myself. You know, I did this, and then it becomes a prison.
Yeah.
A prison of, you know, ideology.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people are on their own islands.
Yeah.
That's what I see in fitness. Lots of people on their own islands.
You're fucked. The minute that you aren't willing to learn and accept. I learn most by fucking things up.
Yeah.
It's the long and short of it. I learn, and I see some coaches and I see some coaching that, and I'm very much like this. If I've seen a coach do something, and I'm not saying I've got all the right answers, I am learning all the time, and I've got a long way to go to be shit hot at this. But that's my intention. I want to be good at it.
Yeah.
I want to be the one person that people go, well, let's find a weightlifting coach in Wigan who's the best one.
Yeah.
He's the best one. I want to get that. That's what I want to be. But I'll see some coaches and you see some ways of coaching. If I do something, if you see me do something wrong with a client out there, the best, and I would appreciate coming to me and say, Longy, do you know what, mate? I've just seen you do something out there, and you know, maybe I can offer you something there that could help you with that. I'm dead appreciative of that. Dead appreciative. I've asked him. Imogen's on a weightlifting pathway, British weightlifting pathway training day today. I was dead keen to go because I just wanted to watch the coach.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to get involved with Imogen because I'm her coach.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just see what these coaches doing. What are they doing well? And what are they doing poorly? You know, and I feel sad when a coach can't accept constructive criticism. But I do believe that constructive criticism has got to be given in the right way. If you just say to someone, you fuck that up, that's wrong. Well, tell me why. Tell me why and show me how you would do it. And tell me why that way would help. And I'm all about that. I think it's, you know, and anybody in here, if I can, you know, I'll walk past someone and I'll just say a little thing. Sam Pett was in the corner, a guy I program for, and he's doing some snatch. I don't like calling them pulls because it's not a pull. He's doing some snatch extensions and he's banging his hips into the bar and he's knocking his bar path off. And just I'm with someone else. And I went, Sam, straight up, mate, no hips. And little things like that, you know. But there's an art in being able to accept constructive criticism.
Yeah, like with that, that's like they call it. It's something I'm looking to do for my dissertation. Talking about the foundation is you've got classical conditioning, so psychological conditioning. So basically, Pavlov's dogs. That guy rang the bell, fed the dogs. Then he rang the bell, didn't feed them. They still salivated. They still reacted psychologically and physiologically like the food was there.
Yeah.
So you can train a behaviour, basically.
Yeah.
You can train a neurological response and a physiological response with the right sensory input. I.e., you saying that to him. I.e., Terry this morning telling me to point my toes in a certain way. And then that gets reinforced, and then eventually that just becomes how you do it. You know what I mean? It just becomes like second nature. So there's that. So you're kind of just conditioning really there.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. It's like I've seen coaches. I remember seeing a coach and one of his clients, and he squatted, and it weren't deep enough. Most of his lads moved, but it weren't deep enough. And you know, for me, I'm like, mate, absolutely brilliant. Well done to you for getting that on your back. But next time, man, what you need to do now is you need to take that down. You need to spend some time now building back up from the bottom, doing some pause squats.
Yeah.
Basically, get your ass deeper in a nice way.
Yeah.
Weren't there that, mate, but well done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Constructive. His coach shouted across the room, "You want to fucking get your ass down next time?" And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
In front of the group of lads he's lifting with.
Yeah.
And you're like, and he's like, you can see this inflation.
And
you're like, oh man, and I don't think he didn't mean anything by it. It was like he was right, but it was like, man, you didn't need to deliver it that way.
There's a turn of phrase. There's a saying. Don't just show me and tell me. You tell me how.
Yeah.
So if I'm never going to say to someone, that squat ain't deep enough. Your extension wasn't long enough. what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, right, you're not extending and you're pulling your arms early. We need to fix that, and this is how we're going to do it. And then we'll apply it in a session. We'll go on the blocks. We'll do some high hang stuff. Very poor, yeah. And I get it. And do you know what? With certain coaches as well, and I've had this conversation with someone recently. They don't know what they don't know. It's like I've experienced something recently with a coach has told someone where the hands should be on the bar, but that's all that coach knew. That's all they did. Somewhere down the line, they've not had that opportunity for someone to go, well, that's not quite right, mate. You want to think about, are their arms down and relaxed? Can they relax their arms? Is it in the hip crease? When they pull the bar from the floor, is the optimal position going to be at the hip?
Yeah, so just so I understand, I was going to say, because again, I don't know if you're Olympic lifting, but my interpretation of like teaching people to squat, dead, and bench is it's very different for each person.
Oh God,
and everybody.
Nobody squats the same.
And like I've had people who, like sometimes you just to keep it relatively safe.
Yeah.
You have to accept shit for a bit.
Yeah.
You have to watch them. The squat, but they're not ready. They just simply, if you try and do anything else with them, they're going to fall over. So you've just got to get them reps in, and then the structures open up, they get better, you do some work on the side, do some unilateral, whatever, and then boom, they get better. But like, everything's so different. If you try and coach, like,
tell someone where the feet should be.
Yeah, like, I will suggest, like, point your toes out. What I'd do, you're a bit wide there, you'll say it's a deadlift, a bit wide. Let's go in a bit, point your toes out. Okay.
See what happens.
How's that feel?
Yeah.
That felt better.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to think about this. Did that feel better? Yeah, that did feel better. Okay, they're good. And it's just an opportunity. Just an opportunity to find a little piece that makes it a bit more efficient. But yeah, for me, that seems like it would be an individual thing because everyone's so 100%.
Different. So what you've just been talking about there with Olympic weightlifting is so complex. It's so complex. The movements, how it's performed, is that I can get someone to come in here and they go, I really want to do Olympic weightlifting, and the experience level, skill level will be 0. And you'll see them do certain, and you're like, whoa, like, this goes back to what I said almost right at the beginning, which is you've got to master that piece of plastic before you master the piece of metal.
Yeah, it seems too dangerous otherwise, because what would work, like, you might be okay here, but then it goes there, and you could just completely lose stability, because you've never took your arms, like, to full range before.
Yeah.
Like, man, my people I get in here, and the shoulder range is like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, putting a barbell in their hands, and I've seen it, man. I've seen beginner courses run, like where they've got, oh yeah, beginners classes on tonight.
And
there's people with bars in their
chucking bars over there.
And I'm like,
yeah, that's what the workshop's about.
And I'm like, that doesn't, and I said this to, who was I talking to? Ewan, I think, because me and you were discussing CrossFit, because Ewan's a powerlifting coach, done a bit of boxing, cool guy, and we had a good chat about it. He's got a powerlifting place up in Bradley, but that's what they're specialists in, and they're fucking good at it, and passionate about it. Again, bit of an background at Adlington, blah, 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 was one of the places I went to as well. Because like you said, you've got to get around good lifters. Like, I was the bigger squatter in my crew, and then I went up there with bloody Andy Foster and Dave Chernock.
Yeah.
Dave's like 50 odd. Andy's massive, like huge.
Yeah.
And you go from, you're the leader of the pack to, can you take some plates off these boys?
Yeah.
Like they're putting 20s on and you're like, you're at 180 and you're like, lads, can I just warm up a bit more here?
Yeah.
But that's what you need. But yeah, we were just talking about it, like, I was saying to him, like, what I've seen, because I just observe and I'm like, I'm interested, it fascinates me. I'm like, what are these fuckers doing, what they're doing right, blah, 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 why is this working so well? Because I do very much like what Terry's done it. And I was like, yeah, but straight away, I'm seeing people with PVC pipes, man. There's PVC pipes. I'm seeing evidence all around. I'm seeing people who can get a beginner in a class and they put a move in and they're going, oh, I don't know how to do that. Great, come here. Here's a band.
Yeah.
Here's a box. This is how you're setting up for that.
Yeah. And
it's like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a high skill coach. That's someone who's spent a bit of time. Not just that, people who've learned.
Yeah.
People who've spent time learning, to do it themselves and coaching it.
Well, do you know the one thing, and I'm always dead honest about this, the one thing that's helped me to become a weightlifting coach is that I've never been particularly good at it.
Yeah.
I'm not a great weightlifter. I understand how to do it, but my body mechanics just aren't great. I can, I think my best snatch it got to 90 a few years ago. My best clean and jerk was 125. I'm nowhere near that now, and I don't train for that now. But I've never been a particularly good weightlifter, which is what I truly believe has made me go, right, well, how did you get good at this?
Yeah.
How did you get good at this? Why have I never been that good at it? So I honestly think that, that's
that for me, that's the thing that obsesses me.
Yeah.
How can I make people, like, what can I inject into what they're doing?
Make them better than me at it.
Yeah. Well, what can I look at? Like, I look at their stuff. Okay, like if someone's absolutely wrecked, it's great getting them moving and getting them back to training.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I keep them away from me? How do I not just keep them away from me? How do I make it so they've got a body that is capable? Look at Shade Uncle, the one Shade. Like,
Yeah.
how do you make people more like him? Because that guy, you could take him and probably put him in most sports. He's a fucking great Nick. He's an athlete. How do we make people more like athletes?
Yeah.
And you could argue that CrossFit, among all the lifting disciplines, are close. But I personally feel there's still some pieces. Like, I was doing some rotation with Terry today.
Yeah.
And I was like, hang on, spend a bit of time there, dude. And he's like, oh man, and it's like, there's more there, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's more gains, and that's what I mean, having that complete body, because then you've got, because this is what I want. I want to be able to go and do some stand up on a Monday, some jiu-jitsu on a Wednesday, some lifting on a Friday, some climbing. I want a body that.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick around? Yeah. That's what I want to be able to do.
Yeah.
And I don't see why I can't. I'm not saying high level anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying compete, but I'm saying be able to do it. And that's what and I see this as one of the pieces. If not, like, he's got quite a few other pieces, to be honest. It's the most complete thing I've seen. But I'm like, well, I can utilize some of that. And that's what I was saying to Terry, well, could we not from here, can we figure something out that would restore, like, act as sort of restorative for people? So it's like they know it's a workout, they're going to get a sweat on, but what can we throw in? And was exchanging ideas and different things. Like, if we throw some bits of this in, and it's, some of it's from what I've seen watching athletes, some of it's from replacements, some of it's from the training at uni, because we're all geared towards sports, us. So that's what we spend time. And I'm like, if we can take some principles from the sporting world, because that's what you want to look at as well. Like you said, look at what footballers are doing. Look at, like,
it's this. Do you know what? And it's strange that, it's not strange, but you can use as many terminologies as you want. Functional training, CrossFit. The best training environment to be in is a hybrid training environment. And for that environment and the people that are responsible for running it to accept that, bring a rugby player in, bring a gymnast in, bring a weightlifter in, bring a climber in. If you can help us, jump on board.
There'll be a piece, man.
Jump on board.
There's a piece in everyone, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's life. That's life.
Yeah.
Every person you meet, there's a little lesson you can take from it. Every interaction. In this, though, particularly, like you said, you can bring all these people in from all these different disciplines. They'll have a piece for you, man. They'll have something that they're doing that will complement something you're doing.
100%.
It happens. Like I said, I spent 2 hours with Terry today, and I've got things to work on for all next week, if not beyond.
Yeah.
And I've got a better understanding of a couple of things. Because that's what you said. And then, like, the same, I shared some of my with him, and he was like, "Oh, I like that," and we were bouncing off each other. Because I was like, "Luke," because what he says is, you learn the skills, and he was talking me through it really well. I've got a couple of videos of him talking through some stuff.
Yeah.
He explains it, he coaches it really well.
Yeah.
And that's dead important. And I'm like, not everyone gets that. Shout or whatever, you know what I mean? Just do it. But then it's like he said, in comp, it's different.
Yeah.
Because you've got to get the reps in.
I know what you're talking about toast bar.
Well, it was toasted bar, hands.
The knee-high kick, or the strict, so you're going to get the knee-high kick, you're going to get more reps. Knee-high kick.
So I was sort of like, well, doing it your way and building that high level of skill, for me, lends itself to being able to do more reps in the comp shittly. 100%. But you've got the capacity to do it as long as you don't dip into that all the time in your training. If you're doing that every week, you get wear and tear. And I was also saying, well, I would also argue that it's probably best to then do it in a Cali way sometimes, where it's so painfully slow that you literally can't do it. because you identify all them weaknesses.
Yeah.
That's what I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Revisiting that, finding some opportunities, and then building.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you've got that large capacity to do that. The crazy stuff in comp. And from what I've,
it's like sparring, isn't it? It's like sparring. It's like any sport. If
don't fight in training.
Well, I do. True. Yeah, I think it's a real thing, isn't it? If you look at loads of different examples of this, so rugby league will be one. What they do the day before a game is they do something called a team run, and there's no contact in it.
Yeah.
There's no contact in it. There's very little contact now in training because of obviously head trauma stuff. So yeah, you've got and CrossFit is probably very typical of this. A competing way of doing things. They'll sometimes do things very differently than what they'll actually train. It's and boxing is a prime example. Or any combat. Spar.
Don't get me wrong. I've been in wars. It happens. Certainly, but the ideal way is playful. It's playful and skill building and learning how to do it properly. Like, you don't want to be coming in here being a gym hero.
Yeah.
Same with, but it's like that competitive environment builds some monsters.
Yeah.
It's just if you dip into it too much, come comp, you'll fail.
So before when
you only have so many of them in your tank, like.
So do you know before when we spoke about environments in gyms and you've come in here and you've got a good vibe. So I've been in some...
A good vibe, mate. I am like, this is how...
Yeah.
I'm watching Terry, and what I will say is that I have reflected upon a lot of my own mistakes running a gym. I've seen people do similar mistakes to me, and I was like, oh, if I did that. With Terry, it's different. It's, man, I should have done this. Man, I should have done it this way.
Yeah. One of the things I've seen in an over-competitive environment, so the alpha male type, too many of them. So when you get it in CrossFit gyms, the CrossFit gyms that I've been to.
I was a powerlifter. Yeah. Smelling salts, whiskies, deadlifts.
And I've seen it breed some pretty nastiness and nasty situations and not a particularly nice environment to walk into for a beginner because of that. There's an shirts off, fuck it, shave some reps off, now I'm going to win. And like I said to people in the warm-ups, don't fucking wad the warm-up. Yeah. You don't have to win the warm-up. You know what I mean? It's like, chill. And this is where in CrossFit gyms, scores go on the board.
Yeah.
Reps and times. In my classes, I'll put people's name on the board and I'll say to them, you want to put your time on the board, you do it.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes about, if you want to be competitive, be competitive. If you want to just be here and train, just train. Because I've seen how an over-competitive environment in the training hall, if we call it that, can create a bad training environment.
Yeah, I think the best way... I listened to Matt Fraser a while back, read his book, mainly because he'd had a back injury. So when I was going through my back problems, and I was just like, I was looking for any scraps.
Yeah.
And I heard about him. He was in another book. He wrote a chapter in the book. I read a Steffi Collins book. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a cool powerlifter. Used to be a boxer and a football. I know she was soccer player, powerlifter, Olympic lifter as well.
Yeah.
And she's just a fucking beast. All round athlete. Lifting 4 times body weight and stuff. She's like this tiny little, I'm not sure what nationality she is, which is cool as out. Very knowledgeable as well. And her book was probably one of the best ones because it was written by an athlete who was empowering. Whereas the ones I kept buying written by clinicians scared the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of clinicians do.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got this. You've got that.
It's like Googling.
Yeah, people come to me and they're just like, oh, my shoulder, I've been told I've got this, I've got that. Okay, belting. Fine. Your shoulder's overloading. Let's figure out why.
Yeah.
I don't care what tendon it is. If you want to play that game, that was my first year of undergrad.
Yeah.
I had to know every bloody attachment, every origin. I had to pass multiple exams in it. We can play that game, but I don't think it's useful.
Yeah.
And I think it gives people too much to stress about them. Because I've got this damaged tendon. I've got this damage. I've got this damage.
Yeah.
6 years ago, mate, chill.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're going to heal. You're going to get strong. You're going to get more resilient. But yeah, it was like, sorry, rambled on then. What was my point then? So I was
talking about over-competitive environments.
Yeah.
Creating a bit of a toxic.
Yeah, so again, Matt Fraser, how he trained. And it was like, I think he's released some of his stuff now, but it's like he said, no one was training like him. And it seemed to me, from what I read, he was training Olympic lifting like an Olympic lifter.
Yeah.
And I've talked to some CrossFit guys.
He
And
his base is Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah,
he was an Olympic weightlifter before he started CrossFit.
But he would train the disciplines as such.
Yeah.
Disciplined.
Yes.
And develop each one.
Yeah.
He built an aerobic base as well.
Yeah.
Something that people don't talk about. But if you can like run for like a couple of hours with your heart rate low, it's a superpower, that, man.
Oh God, yeah.
And when I rebuilt that ability after I went from like running every day when I was fighting, right?
Yeah.
Being super fit, super lean, blah, 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 to I'm strong as fuck and I can't run to hospital when my leg gets rushed in. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to sort this shit out.
Yeah.
And I could barely move. My hips didn't move because I built all this tissue I couldn't use.
Yeah.
Bit by bit did it. And then all of a sudden, instead, I go from being like, workouts smashing it to I can do jiu-jitsu and lift on the same day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so valuable. He talks about that as well. But he did all that and then put it together. And then peaked it in a way.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas if you come in and just smash wad after wad after wad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's some fucking great looking people who do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're in great shape, they're beasts. But that's where I think, that's where there's miles on the clock. And this is where I've been talking to my old training partners going, look, I know we all used to joke about CrossFit and stuff. Yeah. But I'm telling you, from what I'm seeing, it's done right here. And it's producing some people, and I'm seeing, like I said, evidence contrary to what I believe, which is that these people are faring better than the powerlifters, they're faring better than the strongmen, they're faring better, like I said, than even martial artists. Jiu-jitsu is a funny one because if all you do is jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of just holding.
Yeah.
You just, especially if you're a white belt, man, you just tense all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you combine that with some stand-up, you'll do better. Just like if you combine lifting with some martial arts, I think you'll do better. Whereas in CrossFit, we combine it with gymnastics stuff.
Yeah.
And Olympic lifting's definitely better than, it's harder, but it's definitely better than powerlifting in terms of adaptation. In terms of how your body adapts to it. Because that body adapts in a way that's got more capacity that can use in other things.
Two very different sports. People think they're very similar, but they're so different. No. Different.
No, like, but then powerlifting's totally different to strongman.
But they can complement each other.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like a strongman could benefit from the technique.
Look at Steve Burrows at the minute.
Yes, and it's like, look, Guinea, man. You've got some great lifters, but there's quite a few definitely benefit from working on the squat and working on the deadlift.
Yeah.
And tightening it up a little bit.
Going back to what we originally spoke about, it's, the hybrid thing. Every sport will complement another sport. Every sport's training methods will complement another sport, and you'll be able to take a little bit out of it, chuck it into yours. You'll come up with a recipe and it'll bake a fucking good cake. So it's it just goes back to the very original point that we made, and I think more gyms should be accepting of that. I hear from time to time, oh fuck, not doing CrossFit, certain ways of training, and it'll be a little bit of a dig at what we do. Fuck, it's not CrossFit this, what are you doing? And I'm like, come on. You don't need to do that, do you? Let's your shit is pretty good. That can really help us, and I bet some of the stuff that we do can really help you. A little bit of silly when there's a little bit of ignorance towards like, our way is the best way. Fuck your way. Like a little bit silly. Like wrestlers and jiu-jitsu. What are you doing? Fucking, you need to be a good wrestler. You need to be a good.
Well, the thing is, it's like I've heard a guy talk about this recently, and it's in martial arts, in jiu-jitsu. And his way of looking at it is so different. They don't do any drilling.
No.
Right? They don't do any like drilling of arm bars and defences and counters.
Yeah.
It's all live. It's get an arm. That's it. Get an arm. And it's doing it it's like a philosophy. It's like a way of doing something. It's about intention. Because it's like you said, it never works like that in competition.
No. Dominic Cruz, fighter. Well, do you remember him?
Yeah.
He was retiring now. He was
ridiculous footwork. Yeah.
Never sparred. Didn't spar. Just didn't bother with it. Like, felt like he was wasting his time. And
I've never been a good sparrer. I can never get that balance. I just could never do it. When it comes to fighting, I can hit this guy. But when it comes to sparring, it was like I was always dead tense and dead rigid. I couldn't let myself flow. And some of that I'm still working on now, that ability to flow and relax. But I think it's just like, But the point is, it becomes very martial arts. Like Bruce Lee came in, and it's about taking what's useful and making something new. What's yours, make it unique. They scare, absorb what's useful, discard what isn't, and make what's left unique to your own.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and that's training, that's like jiu-jitsu, martial arts should be that.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's become little culty things again.
Yeah.
This is how we do things, we do it this way, there's a certain way of doing this, certain way of doing that, and
Yeah.
you drill things a certain way. But even like, I go back to that conditioning thing I was on about, if you just drill armbar after armbar after armbar, and then you have armbar done on you, but one after the other one in the same way, the same routine, you get in a comp and you'll react that way in comp because you've trained it.
Habit.
So you will build the habit of just, and then that person will take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got the guy who has like, I can't describe it well yet because I don't totally grasp what he's talking about 100%. I do, but I can't apply it just yet. But he's sort of saying this overall understanding is far more powerful than, it's like he said, it's like you get someone who memorizes everything to pass an exam compared to someone who has an understanding and is able to apply it to that problem and figure it out.
It's being unconsciously competent.
Yeah, it's just there. Like he has.
That's a difficult place to get to.
Yeah, in everything.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is exactly what I'm realizing. You have to be able to look and see the beauty in each bit, and see the merit in each bit. You should be able to look at like gym balls, man. You get a gym ball out, and people are like, "Oh, what you doing on that? It's not like some, legs, bums, and tons." I'm like, do you know how hard I can make you work with this?
Yeah.
Do you understand that most elite football clubs will have these and use exercises on these as screening tools? But like you said, people, what's that? Why are you playing around on that? And it's like, man.
I'll be honest, I saw something like that when he first came in. I'm like, what's he doing? He's got like a lasso and some nunchucks and stuff. What's going on here? And it was like, I thought, yeah, cool. So I'm like a little bit, because I'm a little bit like, not so sure what's going on here with this. But then
but neither am I.
Oh yeah. Like, okay, then let's see what he's got. But Olympic weightlifting is a brilliant way of, and I always say this to people: if I do my job right, you don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
If I do my job right, there's going to come a point when you don't need me. You'll have
every coach's aim should be that.
Yeah, you don't need me anymore because you'll be able to do it, or you'll be able to progress onto an elite level, or you'll just not need me anymore. And I always say I'm always dead. The one thing that impresses me just as much as a good lift is when I see someone that I've worked with give someone advice.
Oh yeah.
When I see someone go and they'll look at someone and they'll go, oh, they're not quite doing that right, and this is how they should be doing it. So you showed me how to do it. I think that's then a true reflection of that you're doing something.
Oh yeah. So towards the end, the way I ran my classes was basically a big 2-hour open lifting session.
Yeah.
A few squat racks on the go. People would come at various times. I'd program. I'd coach them through it.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, you had people all around.
Yeah.
Who would coach as well.
Brilliant.
And you were just like...
They'll do it in classes. They'll be like... You'll see two people... You'll see someone you've worked with. Just walk over to someone and they'll be showing them and they'll demo something and you'll think, fucking hell.
You know what's even better? It's hard at first when your ego's fragile.
Yeah.
But when you see someone who's maybe picked something up from someone else and they apply that in as well.
You shouldn't. Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Like I said,
because I want to know what that is.
So like,
tell me.
It's like bigger Andy Foster. He helped me loads when we got set up with the powerlifting club and did the comps.
Yeah.
And he would come down and train. So he'd show the lads some bits.
Yeah.
And I'd hear the lads go, oh, well, Andy showed it me this way, and it really stuck in my head. And I was like, how good's that? What an environment.
100%.
Because you've got this environment where people are now bringing other knowledge in and sharing.
That's it.
And it's like, but the problem is so many coaches would jump on that.
They're resistant.
That's shit, that.
Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah. And I don't get that from you at all. I don't get that from many people.
No, God, the best coach, like, and this is the thing, and I think we've spoke about it. I don't know it all. I don't want to know it all because if I know it all, I'm not going to learn anything anymore.
Yeah.
I want to fucking learn. I want to learn. I want to learn, and then I want to give it to people, and I want to see them apply it. And then my intention as a coach is to turn someone into a fucking better coach than me.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, turn them into an athlete first, but turn them into a better coach than you. And if you can do coach to coach, we did this in police training. I learned a lot from a teaching course, and loads of learning, models of learning and stuff like that. And 100%, the biggest thing, just as much as a PB lift and a beautiful, technically right lift, you can see someone you've worked with go someone and give someone some good shit or advice, then you're doing something right. I love that.
Right. I think that's a good place to stop on. Oh.
Fucking hell, mate.
Oh. Yeah, you can get sucked in, can't you?
Fucking hell. That was good.